Hello and welcome to the Studio YouTube channel. My name's Jane and today I am going to be talking about the changes that autumn brings outside but also within us, and how either leaning into them or being prepared for them can help us over the winter to be healthier and happier and calmer and cozier. I am somebody who takes a long time to wake up. I take tablets in the morning. They take about 3/4 of an hour to kick in. So the first hour of my day is spent watching birds. My daughters bought me a bird feeder a long time ago that sticks onto the bedroom window. And every morning I sit there with a cup of tea and I watch the birds. In the winter, obviously they're coming because they're hungry and it's cold and there's not much food. And then in the spring, they're either nesting or they have babies, and it's like a really easy way for them to top up. Once the babies are born and fledged, they are all brought to my windowsill and they're shown where the food is. And you can see the adult birds just in the hedge behind. But then over the late summer, early autumn, the birds don't really come very much. They'll come, maybe for a snack or whatever in the afternoon, but my mornings are birdless, pretty much. But as soon as we get halfway through October and the light dips, there are an incredible number of birds, way more than any other time of the year. I go through 3 times as much food in this period of time than the rest of the year. I am woken in the morning by a tiny, tiny cold tit banging on the window, waiting for his food. And in the hedge, there are just queues and queues of birds. This is a time where clearly, because it's not cold outside yet, they are programmed. There is a biological programming for them to kind of gorge, to build themselves up, because the heavier that they can be, the healthier that they can be at this point, the more likely they are to make it right the way through the winter when food will be sparser. And in the same way, everywhere I go outside, whether it's the shed or the polytunnel or the greenhouse or the situtory, I'll be disturbing birds. And they just seem to be just sort of surveying, seeing where sheltered, undisturbed places might be, places that they'll be able to tuck themselves into in the winter when all of the leaves are off the hedges and the wind is blowing through the trees. Just doing a bit of surveying, somewhere out of the reach of cats. And I gather that it's not just the birds. Sarah, in one of our Studio B lives, was saying she has badgers in her garden. She's been watching them all year, but now she's seeing them sort of pull lots of plants into their set. Brambles and things that they've uprooted from her garden, all going in to insulate it and keep it cozy and warm. And this got me thinking, what is there inside me that is responding to the light? And how can I either lean into it or be aware of the tendencies? So I had to think about my life. And the first thing that I should say is, for this to make sense, you have to understand that I am not a domestically adept person. My spirit animals are Thing 1 and Thing 2 from The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. Everywhere I go, there is a trail of chaos, of half-finished things, of things not put away, of jar lids left off, of things that I'm halfway through making but just want to sit and look at. It drives everybody else mad. So when I have this kind of like urge, this pull, this drive to do something like tidy out the food cupboard, it's kind of unusual. So this was the first thing that I noticed, that I was pulled to sort out our food cupboard. You know, it's one of these cupboards that's got all of the jars and tins and packets of things. One of those cupboards that you tidy out, and even though you're pretty sure you tidied it out at least within the last year, there are things in there with best before dates of a decade ago. It's that kind of cupboard. So I pulled everything out. I washed it, I dusted it, I looked at all of the date stamps, and I sorted it out, and I reordered things. Now, the reason for this is obviously I was getting this pull, like the birds, towards thinking about food, towards thinking about what happens over the winter. But over the past 18 months, I have lost 16 kilos in weight. Now that's very slow, it's very steady, and I'm really hoping that it is sustainable because, you know, I've been on so many diets in my life, you know, that I've lost weight and put it on and put on some extra and things. So I want this to be sustainable. And I know that when it gets dark, when it gets cold, there is the draw of sugar and cakes and biscuits and all of that kind of thing. And I know that unless I have easy alternatives, I will be back with my head in the biscuit jar. So that, you know, if I've got nuts, if I've got pulses, if I've got grains, I know that I can make healthy, nourishing food that will see me through the winter. Fingers crossed. At least it's a start. The second thing that I saw myself doing was a parcel of some pottery had arrived and it was packed in newspaper. Took the newspaper and some vinegar and I started to clean all of the windows around the sunroom where I work. And this is not a natural thing for me. But you know, there I was scrubbing away, newspaper, absolutely brilliant for cleaning windows. And it just lets in so much more light. I cut back some of the plants that had started to grow over the windows, which looked very, pretty, very kind of cute, but was stopping light getting in. And at the same time, I tidied the whole of the statutory. Now, the statutory is this kind of covered deck that is just outside the sunroom. And it's perfect in spring. It's really lovely. I've got all of the bulbs growing there. But then again, in late summer and autumn, it starts to get messy. Things get left there to do another time. Tools are dumped. Cushions are dumped. Everything is just dumped. And as soon as it starts to get messy, other things pile onto it. And it hadn't been it wasn't a nice place to sit. But then in the summer, we don't sit there that much because it is really an autumn and spring kind of place. So I tidied all of that. I planted up bulbs so that there's something to look forward to in the spring. But it was really so that it's going to be easy for me to get more light. So I've got more light coming into the sunroom where I work because I've cleaned the windows, I've cut back the foliage, I've got a place outside that I can sit and have my cup of tea, cup of coffee that is outside but sheltered. All of these are to do with just this drive to maximise the light. In Scotland, we do not get enough daylight. Even if it's nice weather, we do not get enough daylight. Everybody is recommended to take vitamin D tablets, everybody in the population, no matter what they do. It's recommended to take vitamin D supplements because there is not enough light. But I feel that also, though I take my supplements, that just making it easy to get outside, getting as much light as possible inside, sitting by a window, all of these things just help mood. They help my serotonin levels. They help pull me through the winter. But the third thing that I'm doing, which is kind of like opposite that, I found myself nesting a little bit, spending more time in this room, which is the living room, which is painted dark blue. It's full of cushions and blankets and candles. I've got lights. I brought in leaves to it. I'm kind of nesting here, and there's an open fire here. There's lots of books, and this is just becoming somewhere to curry in, to nest and take full advantage of the fact that it's too dark to do things outside, to take a kind of a rest and a productivity break and just sit and read, sit and sew, do whatever I want, be nice and cozy and warm with my lentil soup for the winter. And all of these things are responses to what is happening outside. They're responses to the weather. They are particularly responses to the light levels. And these are exactly the same things that are causing responses in the plants, with the leaves turning and falling, in the birds, with them filling themselves up and looking for shelter, in Sarah's badgers, pulling all of the material in to insulate their sets. It just shows you we are all connected. And I would love to know in the comments how you prepare for winter and whether any of this resonates with you. I have posted a blog as well of some photos. I think this is a really interesting thing, to just use your phone to find beauty out in the world. So I have posted a blog there, which I will link to underneath here, which is just photos of the beauty of autumn. And until next Friday, bye bye.